Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I represent North Carolina's 6th Congressional District, a place where we have a history of great manufacturing. Many of those jobs went overseas in the late 1990s, resulting in huge and devastating job loss. But thanks to very hard work and thanks to huge investments in the American worker and American businesses by the last Congress and the Biden administration, we are now enjoying the growth of advanced manufacturing once again in our district. And many of our businesses are now having trouble finding qualified workers to fill the open jobs. Simply put, we need more skilled workers. Dr. DeBroy, registered apprenticeship is viewed as one of the best tools in the toolbox for skilling up workers. And we know that 93% of people who complete a registered apprenticeship program are employed upon completion, earning an average wage starting above $77,000 annually. Is registered apprenticeship a model that can be used for a skills-based hiring approach? And if so, can you tell us how?
Yes, absolutely. Apprenticeships are a critical lever available to employers. One thing I will note, though, is that 70% of apprenticeships offer entry into jobs that make up just 8% of the labor force today. There's something now about thinking about this moment and expanding the number of pathways that apprenticeships can offer opportunities into.
Wonderful. And you mentioned in your testimony that the adoption of skills-based hiring that can expand employers' pool of applicants, improve candidate assessments, which in turn can lead to increased quality of new hires, as well as improvements in productivity, employee engagement, and retention. Can you talk a little bit more about I know you talked in your testimony, but if you can elaborate a little bit more on the what skills-based hiring can do for employers, and perhaps talk about hurdles that employers may face in using a skill-based hiring approach.
Thank you so much for the question. You're absolutely right. The return on investment in skills-based hiring certainly shows up in the hiring process, but it extends beyond that for employers. With larger and more diverse pools of applicants and more effective candidate assessments, employers can actually expect to see an increase in the quality of new hires with skills-based hiring. They can expect to see improvements in productivity, in employee engagement, as well as retention. That's what early data is actually showing about the value of skills-based hiring for employers.
And you noted in your opening statement that workers skilled through alternative routes, your STARS program, are willing and able to take many of the quality, high-paying jobs that remain unfilled across many industries. What steps can Congress take to incentivize employers to adopt these practices?
I think that there are a number of steps that the federal government can make. I think the first one is actually a really critical one, which is that the public sector is one of the largest employers in all regions of the country. Deploying these methods themselves as an employer is a first critical step. I think beyond that, the moment in front of us to actually make investments in WIOA and amplify them is a really critical investment that we can make to actually ensure that STARS are getting access to training and services they need to be placed into a lot of the higher wage occupations that are available in their region's labor market.
And I asked, but I don't know if you answered, are there hurdles that employers face in using a skill-based hiring approach? Are there skills that aren't easily tested that can actually affect whether an employee can succeed in a particular job?
Sorry, I missed that one.
That's okay.
It's a really important question because skills-based hiring is actually a quite different method to be deploying to surface talent than what employers have historically used, which is more of a pedigree-based approach. In deploying this method, there are genuine shifts that need to occur within an organization. It actually starts with a mindset shift. What we see is that the majority of managers in this country have a bachelor's degree. Managers with a degree are less likely to consider a worker without a degree for a similar job, and they're also less likely to make investments in workers without a degree within their own workforce. Combating that is the first step, right? Is how can we, in some respects, help employers understand that STARS are a vast, overlooked, skilled, and diverse part of our labor market who should be valued for many skills they are bringing to the job.
Great. Thank you so much. My time has expired, and I yield